Well, to continue with my boyfriend when I was 15, 16, um, he treated me pretty good most of the time. He did call me Pinhead, which I hated, but that was about the worst thing I remember. For a while, for a year, we were really good. Things were good. His older friend who had an apartment, he gave Daryl the key to the apartment so we could go over there when we wanted to cut school, and we would spend all day there. I would actually take the school bus, and the bus driver was not, of course, not supposed to drop us off anywhere except at school, but I used to go up there and ask him to drop me off at this certain corner, and he would, and I would go to the guy's house, and Daryl would be there to meet me. We would spend all day in the bed. Did that many times. And then I'd walk home. Could barely walk. And we used to call them rubbers. We didn't call them condoms back then. Well, he also is the one that taught me how to drive. Sometimes we would go when we cut school. His grandfather had a farm out in Middletown, and sometimes we would go out there when he got a car. Okay, when I first started dating him, he didn't have a car yet. He wasn't old enough. But when he turned 17, he got a car. It was a great big Chevy Impala, and I think it was probably like a 64 maybe. At that time, my mom had a brand new Ford Fairlane, 67 Ford Fairlane. It was yellow. It was a very nice car. And anyway, my boyfriend had this nice Impala, and we would drive out to Middletown when we cut school and just hang out in the field. What was the farm? His grandparents were old, so I think they might have retired from farming. I don't remember crops growing there, but it was a great big field, and we would just park in the field, and his mom would always give him 2 sandwiches for school and a bag of chips, and he would give me 1 sandwich, and we would put the potato chips inside the sandwiches and enjoy that for lunch. And that's where I learned how to drive out in that farm. I would drive his car around and around, and then one day he told me to go this way, go that way, go this way, go that way, and all of a sudden I was on the highway, Route 35, and I was right driving down the highway. So I can thank him for teaching me to drive. And one day he had me over to his family. Well, I already knew his family. I was at his house several times, and his whole family seemed to like me fine. It was all good. But one day he had me over to his Italian grandmother's house, not the one that lived on the farm, the other one that was in Long Branch. And it was like extended family. I don't know if it was just Sunday dinner or maybe a holiday or something, but it was a big dining room table with a lot of people. And that was the first time me meeting the grandmother. And she took one look at me and she said, she don't have nothing. She's so flat and skinny. She has nothing. That was her remarks when she first saw me. So you can imagine I just wanted to crawl under the table and die. But he was cool with it. He was sweet. He squeezed my hand and patted my leg, and he didn't care. He already knew how flat I was. Whatever, he didn't care. So that was fine. But it made me feel bad, of course. So it was all good for a solid year, and then I feel like there was something else that happened. Oh, we went to 2 proms. His proms, his junior and senior prom, and they both went well because he and I were close, and I knew his friends and I had a good time and everything was good. It wasn't like my first prom disaster, which I told about before. I never went to any of my own proms. So I went to 1, 2, 3 proms, but none of my own proms. So after about a year, and he had his car, and we also used to go ice skating on that lake. There was a lake where the glass was the ice was real smooth like glass. Franklin Park, that's what it was called in West Long Branch. And the ice was real smooth like glass, not on the river. On the river, the ice was bumpy, but on this lake, it was very smooth. And he took me skating there, and he could skate really good. And he used to hold on to me a certain way. And like, I was just flowing along with him, and that was real cool. That was good memories. So I was so in love with him. And then one day, he took, well, my mom had the brand new car. And he asked, and at this time, he was acting a little bit funny towards me. I wasn't quite trusting him. Something wasn't good and right about what was going on. I don't know what was happening, but I could tell he was up to something. And this one day, he asked my mom to borrow her brand new car. And I said to my mother, no, please don't give it to him. Because he didn't want to take me. It was like he wanted to take the car for a ride without me. Somehow I knew he wasn't going to take me. And I begged my mother not to give him the keys, and she did anyway. She liked him. She gave him the keys. She didn't care what I said. So he took that car, didn't take me. And when he came back, a couple hours later, he comes back and he had hickeys on his neck. And he comes to the door and hands me the keys, and he knew they were there. He knew they were showing because he had this smirk on his face, and just handed me the keys and walked away. Well, I looked out the window and there was a girl sitting in my mother's car in the passenger's front seat. And some other friend of his had followed him to my house. And so he dropped the car off, took that girl into the other car, and they took off. He had the nerve to do that. Well, I was so devastated, hurt, angry at my mother and him both. I felt like it was the end of the world. I felt like, he drove around in my mom's brand new car with another girl all afternoon. I felt like everybody in town saw him and that I was the laughing stock, and I was just so upset, devastated, you can imagine. So that night I tried to kill myself. I took a bunch of pills that my mom had. I didn't even know really what they were. I think they were Darvon and Darvon mostly, which were, I think they were pain pills. I don't know, but I took like a bunch of pills, a lot of pills. I thought I was really seriously wanting to kill myself. I couldn't imagine going to school the next day and, everybody laughing at me. So embarrassed, angry. So I took the pills, and I told my one best friend, that I did it. I told her what happened. I told her that I just couldn't live anymore. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't face anybody. And I went to bed. And I remember praying. I prayed to God to forgive me for what I was going to do, and just prayed him to take me to heaven. And, I said, I'm sorry, but I can't take it. I can't stand it. I can't live anymore. forgive me, please understand. And I was ready. I went to bed. Well, a little while later, phone rang, my mother answered, and she comes running in the room. Well, my girlfriend had told her mother, because she knew how serious I was. She told her mother called my mother, and my mom's like, freaking out, And I told her that I didn't really do it. I said, "Oh, I was just kidding. I was just joking with her. I didn't do that. No, don't worry. I'm fine." So she believed me, left me alone. I went to sleep, and in the morning I woke up perfectly fine. I didn't feel anything different. I woke up and I thought I was dead. I woke up, I realized I was waking up, and I felt my arms, and everything felt the same. I stood up. I remember I was scared to turn around and look at the bed because I was afraid my dead body would be laying there. I thought I was dead. I was scared to look in the mirror because I didn't know. I thought I wouldn't see anything, or I would see my ghost or something. I didn't know what was happening, but I really thought I should be dead. But when I finally looked at my bed, there was nothing there. When I looked in the mirror, I looked the same. And I realized I was still alive, and I wasn't even sick or anything from the pills. So I just said another prayer and just thank God, for giving me another chance. I realized that it wasn't my time to go, that God wanted me to stay alive for some reason, and He was going to see me through it. I just had that sense, that God was giving me another chance, and that He was with me, and He was going to help me get through this. And He did. So, after that, it was not so good. Let's see. Okay, I have enough time to talk a little more. After that, me and Daryl, we had a big fight, of course, and he still wanted to be with me. And that girl he was with was somebody who just came down from the city, from New York or up there, one of those summer people who he knew because they came down every summer, like he grew up with her and all that, right? But they were making out and all that, but she wasn't going to be around all the time. And he told me, it was just a fluke thing because he hadn't seen her since last year or something crazy. I don't know. Anyway, he still wanted me and I still wanted him, so we were still together, but it was never the same anymore. I didn't trust him anymore, and I kind of was telling myself not to care so much. I'm just gonna get hurt again. So it doesn't matter what he does or what I do because, I can never trust him again, and it just doesn't matter. So, that was not so good, especially because, we were having regular sex. And when you get to doing that, you know how it is. You get where you get used to it mentally, physically. It's just like something you need and want regularly. And so we kept doing it even though the relationship was not good anymore. And I didn't trust him. And then he started dating somebody else from a different school, and I found out about it. And then I got into the mood that, like, well, if he's going to treat me that way, I'll do the same. And I started messing around with other guys, and we were still seeing each other for sex, basically. Well, for me, it was just for sex because I wasn't ready to have sex with anybody else. And I liked that part of our, what was going on with us. I was enjoying the sex, but I wasn't enjoying being with him anymore. I wanted to meet somebody better, and so I was messing around with other guys, just flirting, and maybe a few dates here and there, trying to get another boyfriend, but still having sex with Daryl. And he was with this other girl. And I remember, I mean, it was open then. It was like he was obviously with this other girl, and we even talked about it and all. And, you know, I said to him, well, you can't say anything if I'm with another guy. And we kind of agreed to that, but we're still seeing each other. And then I remember even saying to him, well, what would you do if one of us got pregnant? And he said, I would marry you. He said, I would marry either one of you if you got pregnant. So, but he wore the rubbers. Anyway, maybe I'm going to end that right now because that's pretty much what. Oh, there's another really good story coming up during this time, but I think I should maybe stop this right now because other one that's coming up is so important. I want to start out with that one, I think. So I'm going to wind this up right now. Thanks for watching, and I hope maybe somebody can gain something from all this. Okay, like me, subscribe, then you don't miss anything, and see you next time.